Hello, another week. So now we're looking at 2-2 standard form, which is actually where we left off last class. If you remember the y equals ax, whoops, let's undo that, x squared plus bx plus c that we did at the end of our last set of notes. That's where we're headed today. So we are in page 68 in your workbook. Again, if you don't have a workbook, you're following along on your own sheet of paper because you're going to take pictures of the notes and submit them as part of your grade, part of your practice grade. And then, so paper or workbook. If you are looking to pick up a workbook from school, please let me know. We still have plenty available to you. So if you do not have a workbook, you can still get one. It is not too late. All right, so let's dive in. We want to know, what is the vertex of the graph? I'm going to be honest with you. The absolutely easiest way to find the vertex is to type it in here. So x squared minus 8x plus 5. Remember, the vertex is either the very bottom, called a minimum, or the very top. It's that point of change. So, ta-da, 4, negative 11. So what is the vertex? Well, that is 4, negative 11. Now, let's say that you were stuck without a graphing calculator, without your phone, and you wanted to know how to do it. It's really not too bad. You want to know what is A, what is B, and what is C. They're just numbers. So in this case, A is 1, B is negative 8, and C is 5. For the vertex, so this is an important part, so I'm going to put it over here in our little box. Vertex is x equals negative b over 2a, and y, plug in that answer to the function. There's a fancy notation for that that looks like this, but that's all it means. Plug into the function. So in this example, negative 8 is b, so if I do negative b over 2a, I do a negative 8 over 2 times 1. Well, negative times negative is positive. Well, that's 4. 2 times 1 is 2. 4 divided by 2 is, whoops, I'm ahead of myself. I was already dividing. Let's back up. Negative is positive. Over 2 times 1 is 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Hey, notice that that's the x value that we got when we graphed. Guess what happens when I plug in 4 to the function at the top here? So where did I get those numbers? I put a 4 there and a 4 there. Type that in my calculator and I get negative 11. So you can use graph or you can use your own method, either way. All right. If I needed to graph and I, again, didn't have a graphing calculator, so step 1, graphing calculator is going to be your best friend, right? Okay, but if I didn't have a graphing calculator, how could I graph this? Well, if I do negative b over 2a, that's going to be positive 6 over 2 times 1, because b is negative 6. No number in front means that's a 1. So the x value of my vertex is 3. Okay. The y value is going to be, what is that when I plug it in? So 9 minus 18 minus 1 is negative 10. So vertex is 3, negative 10. So hopefully you have a graph that you can so 3, negative 10 puts my vertex here. Another thing that I know, because this is positive, it points up. Positive points up. Always remember that. The other thing that this form is nice for is I know the y-intercept. C is the y-intercept. Right? So if my y-intercept is negative 1, I know that this is half of my parabola. Okay? That means that the other half has to look just like it. So I know that 6, negative 1 also has to be a point. So pretty simple. Again, if I was stuck and just didn't have a clue, I would type it in here. X squared minus 6x minus 1. Look, y-intercept, vertex. That's enough to graph it because I know that on the other side here, 6, negative 1 is also a point. All right. Moving right along. So how could we use this in the real world? Quadratics, this entire unit, is going to be the most real world applicable section in Algebra 2. So a lot of Algebra 2 is above and beyond, and I know that. Like, a lot of us don't use it in our everyday life that are not math teachers. I get that. Quadratics is the most used. So like if you like computers because you're in the IT Academy, a lot of coding that happens because of quadratic functions. So let's look at an example. A water balloon was thrown from a window. The height of the water balloon over time can be modeled by this function, negative 16x squared plus 160x plus 50. What is the maximum height of the water balloon? Okay, I can look at this graph and see that it's right there. If I have all the time in the world, I can also do negative b over 2a and then plug in. But honestly, what I would do is switch over to Desmos, type this function in, so 16x squared, negative. Let's try that again. Negative 16x squared plus 160x plus 50. You might have to zoom out. Ooh, gotta zoom out a lot. Your goal there is to find the very top. So 5 and 450. So remember that, 5 and 450. If we look at our graph, that looks about right. Okay. What is the maximum height of the water balloon after it's thrown? So maximum height, notice height is your y value. Our y value is 450. So 450 feet. When does it reach 450 feet? Well, that's going to be after 5 seconds. Or right at 5 seconds. So maybe we put at instead of after. Okay. So again, you are welcome to do the long way. I would just use Desmos. All right. And our last example here is this one involves some Desmos. So what I would do is open your calculator on your phone if you have one available while watching this video, or do the reverse, watch this video on your phone and open Desmos on your calculator or on your Chromebook and follow along, because you need these steps for to be able to do this. Okay, so we're going to switch over here to Desmos. We're going to erase what's in there. And the first thing we need to do is set up a table. So to set up a table, I hit the plus sign and click table. And I'm going to put in our points. 2, negative 12, negative 1, negative 15, and negative 4, negative 90. Okay, so again, where did I get those? They're the points from the example. If you have the workbook, that should be in front of you. If you do not, make sure to write this down before moving on. Okay, and then in this one, we are going to type out a function that we want to find that table with. So y, and then I need a tilde. If you are on a Chromebook, laptop, whatever, it's the top left when you hit shift. I can also hit the little keyboard and hit this. That is what I'm looking for. Is the little wavy line. Then, oops, go back for a second. We're actually going to put, notice the title in your table is Y1. So we're going to say Y1, then tilde, so sorry. Then we're going to type A x1 squared. So why did I say x1? Because that's the title of our table is x sub 1. And then plus bx1. And then plus c. Okay. So typing that in is the hardest part, but you're always going to type in that line right there. So we'll write that in our notes when we switch back over. But what we need to notice now is A is negative 4, B is 5, C is negative 6. So negative 4, 5, and negative 6. Uh-oh. I'm trying to write this down real fast before I forget it. Okay. So how do I write my final answer given that? So I'm given A, I'm given B, I'm given C. Well, we're going to plug that into the equation, the standard form equation. So y equals negative 4x squared plus 5x minus 6. Okay, and this is my final answer. There is a way to do it with the RREF from your first quiz, or from your last quiz that you just took last week, but I honestly think that this is a much quicker way. Here's what we need to write over here, though, to take for the last piece of our notes. Desmos steps. We hit the little plus sign table and put in points. And then on the next line, we type Y1 tilde. By the way, if you were having trouble getting that one, if you just type Y1, it will automatically make it a subscript. And then AX1 squared. Remember, you have to hit the shift 6 to get the square. Plus BX1 plus C. Those two things will tell you what A equals, what B equals, and what C equals, and you use those for the equation. All right, so hopefully this is a not too difficult section. Hopefully your 2-1 wasn't too bad. It's all graphing. It's all Desmos. Have fun. Submit your notes and then try the target.